Hi, everyone, and welcome to our webinar for today. I want to encourage you, we'll get started in about 2 minutes, but while we wait for a few more to join, if you're here, if you can find the questions in the chat area of the webinar panel, and just go there and let us know your name, the name of the business that you're representing, and your industry. That would be really helpful. We always like to see who we have tuning in to the webinars. Really good to see that. So if you can do that, let us know the name of your business, the industry that you all are doing business within, and just type that into the questions in the chat area. That will be very helpful as we prepare to begin in just a moment. Awesome. I'm starting to see some of the responses. Great. Awesome. All right, thanks everyone for joining today, and thank you for going to the chat to let us know the name of your business and the industry that you're representing. We also have some really good geographic representation as well, so all over the UK, good representation from a variety of sectors as well. We'll go ahead and get started. Let me make sure I'm sharing my screen. Awesome. Good deal. Well, welcome everyone to our webinar today, AI in Marketing, What Your Business Needs to Know About New Bing. We are LOCALiQ. If this is your first time joining one of our webinars, again, welcome. LOCALiQ is a multi-channel digital marketing agency, which means we specialize in not just one aspect of digital marketing, but we specialize in just about all the different tactics that your business might need in order to fulfill its digital marketing strategy, including SEO, PPC, paid social, display advertising, website design, and so much more. We're also a part of the NewsQuest Media Group, which is more than 200 trusted news brands across the UK, which means we can even help your business incorporate print advertising into your integrated marketing strategy. So again, welcome, and we're happy to take you through today's session. So today's webinar consists of about 4 different parts. First part is AI in marketing. We'll talk about what it is and why your business needs it. We're going to introduce the new Bing. We'll talk about what's new, what's this big shift in this industry that Bing is bringing to the table. And we'll talk about how your business can position itself for success on the new Bing by advertising on Bing. And I've got a colleague who's going to be joining me at that portion of the call as well. And then we're going to wrap up today's session with a Q&A portion as well. But if you have questions along the way, feel free to go to the questions in the chat area right where you were introducing yourself, and you can feel free to type in questions that you may have along the way there. I've got a few colleagues who are in the background, and they're going to be answering your questions live throughout the webinar. But then also at the tail end of today's session, we'll make sure we go back through and try to make sure that we've got all the questions covered. I'm Brandon Griffin. I'm head of B2B marketing for LOCALiQ, and I'll be leading you through today's session. And one other thing to remind you all and let you know that you'll get the webinar recording and the slides from today's session in your email within about 24 hours. So no need to have to take a lot of notes with pen and paper, because we'll make sure that you get all of these slides and the recording of today's session in your email again by tomorrow. All right, so let's jump in. And I see there are some people who are still introducing themselves in the chat. Thank you very much. Just let us know the name of your business and the industry that you're representing, and it's always great to see that there. All right, so jumping in, part 1, AI in marketing. What is it, and why does your business need it? Well, AI is a broad term that represents several technologies to help your business with both internal and external type operative type initiatives. Marketers use AI to gather insights into their customers and produce better content. Marketing assets that are typically guided by AI are personalized and optimized for the customer journey. And so sometimes this can look like chatbots with natural language processing. Have you ever gone to a business website and used the chat feature, and sometimes the responses are so animated that you can tell this can't be a real person, this isn't a human person? Well, now when we talk about natural language processing, the computer's vocabulary and frame of reference is expanding so much that they can actually have more in-depth conversations, and it's a little bit harder to tell whether or not you're talking to a human or not. So that's one aspect of chatbots and the use of AI in marketing as it relates to that, for an example. CRMs is another way that a lot of AI is showing up in marketing. And CRM tools, customer relationship management type tools, are using machine learning to help businesses analyze every aspect of the customer's relationship. And then there are even apps that use deep learning to take personalization to a whole nother level. So that's what AI is in marketing. And here are just some pros and cons, right? Because it's not all good, it's not all bad, but it's a good mix. Some of the advantages of AI when you're going to use it in marketing includes increasing your return on investment. You'll probably find that with AI, your team will be able to accomplish a whole lot more in a lot less time. So you're going to be able to cut some operational costs. You can automatically apply optimizations and bids as well based on performance data. So no longer do your campaigns have to wait until your team finds the time to make the optimizations that you're seeing from different reports, because when you use AI, the technology can make those changes very quickly for you. Another advantage of using AI in marketing would be improving customer relationships. I mean, the more personalized your recommendations are and the deeper your relationships with your customers are, the more likely they'll become repeat purchasers. And AI gives you the tools to be able to do that. And the third advantage and pro for AI in marketing that I want to feature and call out would be that it'll help you and your team make better strategic marketing decisions. I mean, AI is all about helping businesses scale themselves easier, because you can use data to analyze, predict, and even create marketing assets that work, marketing assets that sell. And it can even help make sure that you get the most out of your budget by using data-driven decisions and not decisions that are based off of emotions, which may not lead to sales. So those are some advantages. Some cons, some disadvantages of AI in marketing. You know, one thing that we've talked a lot about using AI for in marketing is to help generate content. And so if you're going to use AI to generate content without having a human edit it, you're probably going to see a drop in the quality of your content, because without a human editor, AI can produce content that has inaccuracies, bias, and even sometimes a different tone from that of which you want to use for your brand. So using AI can be good, but it does require to have some type of human oversight so that those types of mistakes that I just mentioned don't happen. Privacy concerns. If your marketing team downloads and uses AI software, you really need to make sure that you comply with all the privacy laws such as GDPR. And then the last disadvantage that I wanted to feature here is talking about evaluating non-quantifiable KPIs, because certain metrics will be easy to track, but others like improving the customer experience, increasing brand awareness, or even improving your reputation, those are some metrics that are sometimes much harder to track. And so it's really important that if you're going to implement AI, that you have some of the right tools in place to help you be able to tell that story. On this slide, I wanted to talk about when to use AI in marketing. And I know I'm going pretty quickly, but again, I just want to remind you, if you have questions, go ahead and put your questions in the Q&A area of the chat of our platform here, and our colleagues will answer your questions, or we'll answer them towards the end of our webinar. And then also remember, you'll get these slides in your email on tomorrow. So if I go through quickly, you'll still be able to go through at your own pace a little bit later. So for this bit, when to use AI in marketing, I've got like 9 different examples. Number 1, content personalization. This is when dynamic content changes depending on the user. So the content that shows up, it varies depending on who's actually reading the material and based off of the information that your business has. Data analytics, AI can collect and sift through a lot of data from several marketing campaigns, and it can even summarize the findings. AI can predict the outcome of marketing campaigns by using the historical data, such as like customer engagement metrics, the purchases that a person has made, and even the emails that they've opened, and so much more. So data analytics is a big way to use AI in your marketing to make those campaigns more effective. Content generation, we've already talked a little bit about that, and just remember that you need to have a human involved in the process to make the edits, to fact check the content that AI is producing. Media buying is another area that AI can be very useful because AI technology can predict which ad will be effective, which media placements will be effective to reach the target audience that your business needs most in order to maximize the ROI. So you don't have to decide, oh, wow, should I advertise on Google, Bing, Facebook, Instagram? Because when you use AI in your media buying process, it can eliminate some of those decisions, or it can help maximize those decisions that you would typically have to make as a human. It can do it much more effectively. Chatbots, I've already mentioned that. It can answer the questions that customers have. It can help nurture leads. It can answer repeated questions, so your team can spend more time doing other things. Automated email marketing campaigns. Email marketing has always been around. It's been around for years, but AI tools can help produce even more engaging email content. And it can even let you learn more about your email list and their behaviors, because the goal is to have your marketing team spend less time researching, less time brainstorming, so they can actually focus more time on sending campaigns that are going to be successful. Last two or three that I just want to mention here would be inclusive of forecasting sales. A lot of people think when you talk about sales, it has nothing to do with marketing, but however, AI can actually help marketers understand and predict the outcome of their campaigns and their marketing assets before they even launch them. So think about how much time and resource that's going to save. Improving customer experience, we talked a little bit about that. You just want to be able to delight customers with personalized content and much better marketing assets, right? And then the last one here is SEO. SEO is a real big conversation these days, and one of the most significant advantages AI brings to the table to SEO is the ability to optimize content for search engines. AI algorithms can analyze website traffic, they can identify keywords that help improve search engine rankings, and it can even help track competitors' activities. So you can use all that information to help fuse your SEO strategy. So once again, when you get this slide deck in your email on tomorrow, you'll be able to come to this slide, which is a bonus slide that I wanted to include. And it gives 12 different ways and areas your business can leverage AI in marketing. And as you can see, there's so many different ways. So if your business wants to implement chatbots, social media management, social listening, lead generation, wherever your business is, I've listed here some tools that you can use to help you get started on implementing that as a part of your strategy. So I hope that you'll find this slide very, very helpful. All right, cool. So I think we're making good time here. We'll move into our next portion of the webinar, part 2, and we'll talk about this new being, okay? This new being, what's new and why does it matter? So let's talk about the two players at the table today. It's OpenAI and Microsoft. OpenAI and Microsoft. OpenAI, they are the creators behind the groundbreaking chatbot software, ChatGPT. I'm sure everyone has heard about ChatGPT. It's that smart computer program that talks like a human, and it can chat with people, it can answer their questions, and it can even help them with writing or talking tasks or research projects. It's pretty intuitive, And I would really encourage everyone, if you haven't tried it, to go and give it a try. The link will be here on this slide when you review them after the webinar. And then the other player is Microsoft. So Microsoft is the company behind the search engine called Bing. And Bing is the second most popular search engine worldwide. It has about 4% market share in the UK across all devices, so from tablets, desktop, mobile devices. And so that's really not bad, especially when you consider that Google has doubled down with their mobile first approach. But even in that, it's allowed Microsoft to gain users that are on their desktop. So about 980 million searches every month take place here in the UK from a desktop PC on Bing, on Bing.com. So it's very likely that more of your customers are using Bing than you might actually think. And so I want to go just for a few minutes and kind of give you a live experience of what this new Bing is like in action. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Now, this new Bing works best when you are in Microsoft Edge as your web browser, okay? So if you want to get the fullest, greatest experience, download Microsoft Edge as your web browser, and then you'll want to go to bing.com, bing.com, and it'll bring you to their landing page here. But also, I've got Google open here because I'm going to put a prompt, a search prompt into Google, just so that you can see what the typical search landscape is like. And so I've got a prompt here, and the prompt is, what are some things to do in Cumbria for half term? We just finished, right? What are some things to do in Cumbria for half term with a 7-year-old and a 16-year-old? Okay, so two different age groups, right? We'll put that into Google, and we'll see the types of results that come through. And so you see we've got some sponsored results here. These are some Google ads. And then just like typical search activity, it gives you several different websites, 20 best things to do in Cumbria near me, 20 best days out in Cumbria. And you know the drill. We go down, we scroll 30 minutes, we go through 10 and 20 websites, and then 30 minutes later, 1 hour later, we still have no idea as to what our plan is going to be, because we have to go into each one of these websites and see where it's going to take us. So I'm going to take that same prompt and I'm going to type it into Bing, the new Bing. So again, what are some things to do in Cumbria for half term with a 7 and 16-year-old? And I'm going to go ahead and let that go. At first glance, Bing gives you the results that you may be familiar with, but I'm going to click chat, which is a new feature within Bing that incorporates the technology that ChatGPT OpenAI technology. And you can see here, it's going to take a second, but it has my prompt, what are some things to do? And it's searching for it. It's searching, and then it's going to generate my response here. So we'll give it a few seconds to do its computer magic here. And you'll see it here. It says, so some things to do in Cumbria with the 7-year-old and 16-year-old are. And it's giving me suggestions of historical and cultural attractions, things that I can do in nature if I want to go to parks, if I want to go swimming. And I can click these links and it's going to take me directly to the business website. And I can also click the annotation here and it's going to tell me where it pulled that particular information from. And it's even giving me some additional resources. So pretty intuitive. And I really don't even have to leave this web browser if I wanted to. But that's not it. I'm going to do one more prompt just to show you. And now I'm going to say, give me a few recommendations. Give me a few recommendations for lunch and dinner. And then let's see what the new Bing suggests. Let's see, we'll give it a second there. And it says searching for best restaurants in Cumbria. And then we'll let it work its computer magic. And it says there are many great restaurants in Cumbria to choose from. And it's giving me if you like Italian food, you can try this restaurant. If you like Greek cuisine, you can try this restaurant. Again, I can click on the links and go to their website. I can see where it's pulling this information, or I can just keep talking to this chat and take this plan to a whole nother level and have them send emails to my family, all without ever having to leave my web browser, and even all without ever having to click through into some of these websites. So that's just a little preview of this new Bing. I encourage everyone to try to give it a try. If you haven't already, just go to bing.com. And so what Bing is trying to do is it's trying to give you a co-pilot, someone you can chat with, and it'll bring all the information that you need onto one screen. You don't even have to go to a lot of different websites if you don't want to. So with the new Bing for businesses, you have to start thinking about not just the stage of the customer journey where people are ready to make the purchase, but you also have to consider their research phase and how your business can make sure that you show up in those search results or those AI responses, just like we would always try to make sure that our business is showing up in on page 1 or page 2 of the traditional search engine result landing pages. So I know it's like, again, another type of marketing landscape change that now your business has to try to navigate. It can be a lot, but hopefully in this next section, part 3, I want to invite my colleague Charlotte onto the session. And Charlotte is a paid media team leader at LOCALiQ. Charlotte, are you with us?
I'm here.
Hey there, Charlotte. Thanks for joining. So, in this next part, you've worked with a lot of businesses across not just Bing, but Google as well as some of the social platforms. So you've seen it all, and you've worked across a lot of different industries and sectors. So I was hoping that you joining our call today, you would be able to give us some inside scoop in terms of like what you've seen work well when businesses have tried to advertise on Bing and include that as a part of their digital advertising strategy.
Sure. So I think the first question is why use Microsoft advertising? I think you've covered it a lot there, Brandon, but I think there is a real attraction to be advertised in more places. So when you use something like Microsoft Ads, your ads won't just appear on one site. You'll actually be displayed across multiple sites as Microsoft own Bing, MSN, Yahoo and AOL. So Microsoft and Yahoo have several smaller partner sites that are owned and operated by syndicated search partners. So I think that is a real benefit for visibility. There's less competition, so the search engines associated with Microsoft advertising have a smaller audience segment. These lower search volumes mean less competition for ideal placements and fewer other advertisers, increasing the cost of your adverts. So essentially, less people in the auction, the more likely you are to have that visibility there. And clicks have the potential to be cheaper as well. Prime spots will be easier for you to snag if you're advertising across Microsoft, and you can get essentially more money, more for your money. Granular targeting as well. Bing's ad tools allow you to make targeting changes at the ad group level as well, which we're not seeing on Google as such. The budget is set at campaign level, so there's less granular targeting there available, which is a real advantage for Bing. And if you want to get really specific about device targeting, Bing is the better choice. With Microsoft Ads, you can target audiences based on their specific devices and operating systems, so Android, iOS. You've got obviously all of your various different internet browsers on desktop, so real advantage for granular targeting there. It is Microsoft's default search engine, and so anyone who grabs a Microsoft 365 or Microsoft machine automatically uses Bing as their default search engine, unless they veer off and they download an alternative such as Chrome powered by Google or they use Safari powered by Apple. Bing is on all Microsoft devices as the default search engine, which is great. This makes for pretty easy traffic and potential eyes on your ad campaigns. There's a potentially lower cost per click rate. So if CPC is your #1 concern, or cost per click, CPC for those on the call who aren't familiar with the term, it's a good idea to run your own Bing ads and Google ads and study which is best for your brand. If you want to be more cost effective than the other, then you might want to put more budget into there, but it's really all about A/B testing and getting visibility across a variety of search engines to find out which one works for you and your business. And LinkedIn profile targeting capabilities as well. So Bing Ads Manager lets you target highly relevant audiences by using profile information from LinkedIn. I'm sure most people on this call have a LinkedIn profile. You'll have seen the adverts yourself there. Company, industry, job function, all the things that you naturally list as part of your LinkedIn profile, even education, sales, art and design, all of those features. You can target based upon, which is fantastic. Obviously, this feature is a game changer for B2B businesses, especially if you're looking for maximum coverage and brand awareness across all verticals. Yeah, I think I've covered everything.
Yeah, that is a big game changer, especially being able to integrate the LinkedIn component into your paid search strategy as well, especially for that B2B audience when you're trying to target not just a general consumer, but an actual professional purchaser and buyer. So that's a really big one too. So Charlotte, on the next one, can you talk to us a little bit about, so this is great in terms of like why businesses need to be on Bing and use Microsoft advertising. What are some of the challenges that you've seen in terms of how businesses can or try to position themselves for success on Bing?
So, just referring to my notes here, I don't want to miss anything. So the first thing that people want to do is you need to make sure that your business is positioned for success on Bing, and you want to get started and make sure that you actually are on Bing. It is great for businesses with a target audience of individuals 40 plus with an income exceeding £100,000, although there is a lot of variation on that. So essentially, when businesses are thinking about adding paid search advertising to their digital marketing strategy, many times they head straight over to Google and that's all they do, and they're not aware of the audience that sits on Bing. So Brandon, you mentioned earlier that there are 980 million desktop searches each month alone on Bing in the UK, which I think is a really great statistic. And there is, I really do think there's a question as to, is my customer on Bing? And what we found is that if your target customer is 40 plus or has a high income, you really want to make sure that you have a robust strategy that includes Bing. So I went away and I did some research, and I've diagnosed that for home improvement, especially, just to take one example, at the moment in the market, we are seeing a slightly older demographic here, maybe heading towards retirement age, they're mortgage free, they're looking at investing into their homes where they plan on spending that retirement, and we're seeing a big dominant audience target here rather consistently, actually, and it can be very easy to get started. So there is actually a blog on our website that will show you step by step how to create your Microsoft Ads account and even import your campaign directly from Google into Bing to help you save time.
Cool. So that's getting started, and I think that makes sense too. It's always about trying to make sure you know who your audience is and as much information as you can find out about them, where they are in their life, and then try to bring that information to your planning for how you're going to execute your digital marketing strategy. So I like that call out too, because I guess I would not have thought about that home improvement would be one of probably many sectors that would do well on Bing. But you think about who are the typical type of people who own homes or own older homes that need some fixing up, need some repair, and it kind of makes sense to that age type demographic as well. So I can see that. So once businesses make sure that they're on Bing, what's the next areas that you may feel like is a challenge area for businesses in terms of going to that next level?
So To ensure that you're successful, you want to leverage tools like Ahrefs free keyword generator and ChatGPT, which I know you touched on earlier, and I know that most of us are familiar with. I would essentially just have a practice at using ChatGPT and how it's going to work for you, and ask it some questions, find out what it knows about your business, what your business knows about, and you actually feed that information into there as well, which is super helpful. What people don't know about ChatGPT is that it can help you conduct and sort keyword research for your campaign, which has just been a game changer in terms of diagnosing high impact keywords and high clicked on keywords. So you can leverage ChatGPT and Ahrefs keyword generator to help diagnose what keywords are going to work best in Bing. You can turbocharge your campaigns with intelligent budget optimization and conversion driven insights with LOCALiQ. So we can actually help with that. We offer integrated campaign management, data-driven decisions based on where to spend your marketing budget. So we consistently, with any search campaign, advertise across Google and Bing, and obviously all of Bing's search partners as well if you're looking for maximum brand visibility. Our API, which is bespoke and owned by ourselves, consistently moves your budget between Bing and Google up to 73,000 times a month. I think the latest figure is, although it's constantly improving. And if you opt for one of our cross-media solutions, which covers all 3 social solutions across Facebook and Instagram also, and Google and Bing, that is a cross-media campaign that we offer. It will constantly be moving budget, not just between Google and Bing, but social solutions as well, depending on the audience and depending on the data that we feed it, which ultimately leads for higher performance for your chosen KPIs, whether that be brand awareness, lead generation, phone call generation, form fills, email marketing, whatever your goal is. There is a market there with Bing, and we're here to support that essentially.
Yeah, no, thanks for that, Charlotte. And I'm seeing some really good questions come through in the questions panel of the webinar. So I want to encourage everyone, as you think of questions, put them through the chat in the questions area. We'll come and get those answered. But Charlotte, you mentioned 2 things especially that I really want to make sure everyone on the call gets and hears. I think number 1, between this slide and the last slide, you mentioned making sure that your business is on Bing. Because sometimes marketers and business owners, of course, we're very busy. And so sometimes we do task out our paid search marketing campaigns to businesses and agencies or people who just want to help us out. And one thing you want to make sure, especially if you've got some support in this area, is to make sure you're actually on Bing. Because sometimes some agencies only put their clients on Google alone, or some contractors will only focus on Google because sometimes Bing can be considered a little bit complicated and not easy to understand or as easy as Google. But as you mentioned, Charlotte, it's like standard operating procedure for LOCALiQ. We put all of our clients on Bing, on Google, and we let the system do its work and figure out the best utilization of the resource, unless we've got insight in terms of the specific audience of the business, and then we can allow that to facilitate how we execute the campaign. But I think the main thing I want to stress, as you mentioned, which is like when you work with LOCALiQ, you're going to be on both Google and Bing from the get-go. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the other challenge that a lot of businesses have when you think about, oh, wow, I need to advertise on Bing, I need to advertise on Google, I need to advertise on Facebook. The next question they go to is that conversation about budget. Okay, well, how much budget do I need? And I've only got 1,000 pounds, 2,000 pounds a month. And typically, you would have to manually separate your budget out and say, I'm going to put X amount of pounds on this platform, X amount of pounds on this platform, and manually go to each platform and manage it. But the solution and technology that you're talking about that we have here at LOCALiQ, correct me if I'm wrong, that one budget can be spread out automatically. The system does all that that calculation, so it's not a lot of math. Is that accurate?
That's accurate, yeah. So we feed it the budget, we feed it the business goals, the conversion goals, and then with conversion-based optimization, it diagnoses not just where you're getting clicks, which could be a goal for your business, but where you're actually getting leads and where you need that visibility, and the API and the technology does that work for you. Obviously, there's human intervention as well. We can't rely on the technology 100% because it's not going to guess your goals, but we do utilize that technology to move that budget where you're going to get those leads.
Yeah, and I love that you did stress it's about leads. It's not just about how many clicks are coming to your website, but it's about how many people are converting, calling you, calling your business after visiting your landing page or completing that form fill or inquiring, right? And our system tracks that. And I think that takes you to this next challenge, which is once you get your campaign up and running, then the next question is, well, is it working? And how do I prove whether we're making a return on investment? So what are your tips there for us, Charlotte?
Top tips would be save time and resources by using an all-in-one marketing analytics tool to view real-time reports from all of your campaigns and platforms. Leverage tool like the lead inbox in LOCALiQ Client Center. For those of you on the call who have had access or do have access to the Client Center, it is our transparency portal. Everything is in there, not just your leads from your campaign, but your leads from organic, direct, any social, directory listings, third-party websites, wherever you appear. Our transparency portal will let you know exactly what portion of leads are made up from LOCALiQ, which is fantastic for analysing ROI and effectiveness. In fact, a client of ours, LS Care, used a feature of our Client Center called our engagement inbox or engagement center, I think it's now called. That client, LS Care, it's a care company. They were looking to recruit some new carers. Upon launch, we didn't expect it. There was an absolute influx of leads. It was fantastic. So many leads, in fact, that the client, who was a one-man band in their marketing department, could not keep on top of those leads. So to help her out, what we did is we enabled our automatic lead nurturing platform. So you can send, once a lead comes in, you can send an automated email response. You've probably received them yourself, thank you for your inquiry. What we did was we modified that automated response and prompted the user that had submitted their lead in the form of a form fill or email. We said, why don't you send us your CV in response to this email? And as a result, the client was able to sift through all of those leads comfortably, all of those emails comfortably. She was able to go through all the CVs without having to tailor a bespoke response to absolutely everyone, and then secondary ask the question afterwards where, we're not on the curve of enthusiasm, they may not be as interested. It was immediate, and we got immediate responses out there to all of the inquirers. Completely streamlined the process, just one of the many features of our Client Center platform. And master GA4, Google Analytics 4, and make sure that your website is taking advantage of new tracking and reporting features. And of course, LOCALiQ can help you get this set up too.
No, thanks for sharing that. I think those are good points too. One, just like nothing saves time when, I know it takes a lot of time when you have to go to each of those different platforms to pull down reports, to take into the meeting so that way you can prove that the marketing is working. But I really like what we have on our Client Center and that reporting dashboard, because it brings all of those the analytics and the insights from all those different platforms into one, and makes it really easy to generate 30-day, 90-day, year-to-date type reports. So that way you can just click a button and take it directly into the meetings that you have. It saves a lot of time there. And that example that you mentioned with LS Care is a really good example of making technology work for you. They were getting a lot of leads, and sometimes when we activate these campaigns, they generate more responses than sometimes the businesses can handle, which can be great. But when you get a little bit more than you can handle, you want to make sure that those people who aren't able to be serviced by your business still gets a good experience, right? Because just because you may not be able to service them now, you still want to send them away in good graces so that they can come back to your business. And so you really want to try to utilize technology and all those tools that we presented earlier to help answer the question, how can we position ourselves for success, and maybe not turn away business, right? Nobody wants to turn away business. So if you can use AI and some of these tools to help you become more efficient in your process, that's where you want to be. That's where you want to be. Well, thank you, Charlotte, so much for these tips. Very helpful, very good insight, especially those insights in terms of why businesses should advertise on Bing, and those little nuggets that you gave in terms of which audiences and which businesses can find some really good success on the platform. Don't go away if you, well, don't go too far because we got a Q&A section coming up in our last 5 minutes, and we may have some questions for you. But while we do that, I just want to go through a few housekeeping things before I get to the Q&A section with our attendees. The first reminder is that the webinar recording is on its way to your email, so you'll get the recording and the slides within 24 hours, so stay tuned for that. And then I want to encourage you to do two things for everyone on our call today. And I'm going to ask that my team put the URLs to this website grader report into the chat so everyone can just click on it, because all we have to do is go to our website, put in your website address, and totally free, you'll get a report. You'll get a report card for your website. And so you'll be able to see how your website compares and fares in the areas of website build, SEO, your social presence. It gives you a score, so that way you can see how your website is performing. Because one of the biggest challenges that we hear from businesses and marketers is that honestly they don't really know how their marketing is performing, or if they know how it's performing, they don't know how it compares to their counterparts. So here's a quick thing that you can do. It's free. Just type in your website address, and then you'll get the report that'll generate the score. And then the next thing I want to encourage you to do, if you don't do anything else on the call, try to do the website grader report today. And then next, book a call with one of our LOCALiQ marketing experts, because greater than what we can do right now on this webinar, our colleagues can go through with you on a one-to-one basis and talk to you specifically about your business, the goals that you have, what objectives that you're trying to achieve, and they can let you know which strategies your business should consider to implement. So definitely do those things, a website grader report, and book a consultation and a call with a LOCALiQ marketing expert. All right, with that, I'm going to move to the Q&A portion of our call. We've got some questions that have come through. So let's see here. And thank you to my colleagues who have been answering some of those questions along the way. Let's see. So Holly mentioned, I think Holly was trying to activate some things on Bing, and she came across a comment that says, "You've reached a conversation limit for today." And the question is, will this stop users from continuing to speak to the chat bot? And Bing Chat does have a limit. I think it's, let's see here, what is it? Yeah, Bing Chat does have a limit of like 5 sessions and 50 chat sessions per day. And then once you reach that limit, Bing Chat won't respond to any of the further inquiries until you actually register for an account. And so sometimes it does have that limitation, but that's just Bing trying to get more people to register. Let's see here. One question that's come through from Marcus: do you need a separate budget for Bing ads, or does LOCALiQ automatically attribute a budget if you're running a PPC campaign with LOCALiQ? And then I think there's a second question: are separate results available from Bing? And then 3, does Bing run, a lot of questions, Marcus, great questions. And then does Bing run something similar to Google Analytics? So Charlotte, may I bring you in for that question? First question, yeah. Do you need to have a separate budget for Bing ads, or does LOCALiQ automatically attribute that budget?
We automatically attribute budget. So what we do essentially is there are 4 sides to every PPC campaign. There is Google Local, Google National, Bing Local, and Bing National. And what we do is we tend to feed more of the budget into the local sides of the campaign. We naturally give Google a slightly larger portion of the budget just because the cost per clicks tend to be higher. But no manual bid adjustments happen unless, of course, we diagnose through keyword research that we do need to attribute those cost per clicks, those budgets, that cash, we do need to allocate that into Bing. But we do we feed it the information essentially first off, but then the optimization will naturally move that budget, but it doesn't need a separate budget. We kind of do all that behind the scenes.
Cool. Good deal. We are at time, and so I'm going to say that if we didn't answer, if we weren't able to get to your question today live, also watch our blog, localiq.co.uk, and then go to the blog section, because on tomorrow we'll post and publish all the answers to all the questions that were asked today, even if we weren't able to answer it live. So that way everyone can get the answers that they'll need. As I mentioned, the recording and the slides you'll get today. We've also have done a host of other webinars, and so if you go to our website and you go to the resources webinar section, you'll be able to see all the other topics, including how to master Google Analytics 4, which is something that Charlotte had called out. And then I think, Marcus, you also had a question about Google Analytics and Bing, and so you may find your answer in that webinar. And again, I just want to encourage everyone to make sure you do that website grader report for your website, and then also to book a call, so that way we can have more personalized conversation about what the needs of your business are, and the strategies that you should probably implement to help you achieve those objectives. So with that, I want to thank everyone for taking 45 minutes out of your day today to join us. I hope that you've learned a little bit more about Bing. You're walking away with a little bit more insight than when you joined the call. I want to thank Charlotte. Thank you very much for sharing your knowledge and your expertise about Bing and just digital marketing strategy in general. Always a pleasure to collaborate with you. And then the last thing, as you're exiting today's webinar, a survey will be prompted. Please fill that in and let us know how you like today's content and the pace. We tried to cover a lot within a short amount of time, so probably couldn't go into as detailed as some may like, but let us know your feedback there. And you can even easily select that you would like to talk with a LOCALiQ representative on that survey as well. All right, so with that, until our next webinar, again, thank you so much for taking the time, everyone, and look forward to seeing you on our next one.